All right, so button should be opening super wide here. Our hand is just not going to be good enough to defend. We'd be defending maybe if it was suited, probably. All right, so yeah, this table looks like it's pretty juicy. Looks like we have maybe one other rig at this entire table. So I expect him to be ISOing with a rather strong range here, maybe like ace jack plus, tens plus. I guess he could have like eights or nines. I don't think he'd be doing this with like suited connectors or small pocket pairs. And then here on this board, he gets to be quite aggressive. I mean, that short stack could be just shoving sort of any king X, any clubs. Okay, don't really expect the original limper in the hijack. With the hijack? Yeah, to really have any strong hands at this point, I think he would have bet his straight draws, bet his flush draws on the flop. So I guess he could have a hand like Jack X. Or maybe he picks up a draw. Yeah, just ace high. Pretty surprised he called it turn. All right, so this guy's limping the small blind, which is probably pretty terrible here at these stakes on ignition based on the rake. And pot, and you guys just open rips. He just has a lot of weak jacks. Maybe some flush draws or some king queens. I don't even think he has king queens. I think he's raising king queen pre. I guess he could have a hand like 8-9 suited. I guess he could have Jack 10 here, right? Like, I think he just has a middling Jack or Jack 10 most of the time when he's doing something like this. And then some draws. Not sure how many draws though. This guy's thinking about calling. I'd be interested to see what he's thinking about. This guy continues with ISO raising pretty large, which I think at this table is fine. The way this table's been playing, these guys are just putting money in. Pretty loose pre-flop. Lip calling, limping, lots of hands so far. Here's a hand if it gets folded to us. We're definitely going to be opening. We may be ISOing here if either of these guys limps. They're both. But we may also just be limping behind if they limp. Our hand plays pretty well multi-way. We don't mind if the small blind comes along. Don't have much information on the big blind at this point. But he has been reloading to 150, so. Okay, like here, this is a spot where I guess with the stack sizes, I think maybe this is just a fold. I don't know. I mean, this hand plays really well multi-way. I don't think we'll get squeezed really ever. And I think we can invite the small blind along. And we don't mind if the big blind comes along as well. Very interesting, this player just bets pot here. I've seen a lot of weaker players do this with hands that don't really make any sense. I don't really feel comfortable folding top pair to one bet in this spot. Like I've seen players just bet pot when it really, really doesn't make sense with hands like tens here or kings. He bets large again on the queen. Like I guess he's got hands like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. Maybe he has hands like queen jack as well. We're not really beating any of his value hands here. I just don't have enough information to know if he's sort of spazzy enough to justify a call in that spot. Yeah, exactly. See, like. Probably a bit too weak to open even at this table, especially right now. It's maybe two of the better players are in the blinds. I don't know, hard to tell. Oh man, this table is getting quickly filled up with full stackers, which is interesting. We'll see. how they play. Okay, so interesting small blind checked on this board. This is generally a better board for the small blind opener. Okay, worth noting that this guy posted rather than just wait one hand. So that sort of just, to me, implies like he's definitely not going to be on the nittier side. And maybe not really a reg, in the sense that I don't think regs would be willing to post the blind there. Like, why not just wait a hand? Just 20 seconds. Because if you don't know how much like the value of big blind is. Okay, so we have a limp and a check from a big blind. I'm not really sure what ranges these limpers have. Suited connectors, small pocket pairs, suited kings, maybe even Jack 10, hands like that. So ace 3 off was what he limped there from the hijack, which is obviously bad. Okay, really interesting. Queen Jack suited would be a hand I'm mixing, usually against a 3-bet, but like a really shitty size 3-bet here. Because if we just call, we're going to be in a weird spot post flop. And just because I don't expect the button to really ever fold, and button could always 4-bet there. Oh wow, that was like the best situation that could have happened, was button folding and us being in position against this. Really weird that he just bets full pot. So he's one of those, his read is sort of in line with the type of guy who would post his big blind right in front of the big blind. Seems like he's kind of a maniac, very aggressive, to say the least. Probably was just a pre-flop fold with that queen jack suited anyway, but I really want to mix it up with player 3 here. 3-seat. Can under the gun raise and then a hijack 3-bet. Should be pretty narrow ranges here. Let's see, under the gun open. Hijacks 3-betting. Pretty linearly. And under the gun's supposed to call. Here's how under the gun is meant to react to a hijack 3-bet. So raising very polar or very strong hands. I mean, and then flatting ace queen suited, jacks tens, and flatting some of these. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it makes sense because on lower boards you want to have some hands that connect with lower boards. I think I kind of felt like 3-betting there or I mean opening, raising there because really want to play pots in position against that guy. But I don't think check 9 off is really the hand to do it with. Seems to like betting pot. This board's much better for the button. I expect him to be very aggressive. Big blind should never really be leading here. Okay, small blind size is up a bit. Against this player in particular, it's not surprising to me. I do expect him to be quite aggressive on a lot of flops, but we are in position here. We have king high and we have suited hand. I'll see a flop against this player for sure. Okay, this is the type of player that I would expect to bet his hands that connect this flop at all. So when he checks, I think we can actually just start sort of playing fairly aggressively. So as you can see, he's just choosing the pot size. Again here, you got check two. Okay, and the shorter stack comes along. I expect shorter stack there to have some hard draws, maybe some straight draws, maybe some combo draws. I don't know. He's never got a queen or a jack. Yeah. So this is good, right? We have the best seat on this table for sure. C3 is very aggressive. It's a card that's much better for the big blind than it is for the button. That may not be true. But in general, yeah, he's got to proceed pretty cautiously. 10's an interesting card as well. So I expect button to still have some fairly strong hands here. Some top pairs, some over pairs. And when he makes this bet, I don't think he thinks, right, like big blind's never checking a flush again, or I don't think he's checking a 10 on the river either. So big blind's got like some very weak middling weak hands there. So you get a 5x ISS, pretty normal. I don't even think we're opening queen off, queen 5 off in the small blind. No, not even close. Oh, our boy left. Darn. Whoops, I didn't give Table Tamer time to up my size there. So I expect the big blind to call it a slightly wider range than normal. Okay, he decides to 3-bet. It's fair enough. My sizing is weird, and he gets 3-bet pretty wide against the min open. Doesn't really want to see a flop out of position. I think king queen off. I think like if I was on the button and he 3-bet, I could consider 4-betting here. But I think in this case, like just calling in position, get to realize a lot of equity. Okay, this is a board that I expect him to have a fairly high betting frequency on. When he checks, I think he's got hands like kings, sure. Queens, jacks, tens. He's also got hands like king, jack, king, queen suited, hands like that. Having the king of diamonds is nice for us, but I think this hand has a bit too much showdown value to want to be betting here. And I do suspect that he definitely can be checking some middling aces. If he did 3-bet a hand like ace 5 suited or ace 4 suited, it makes sense for him to have that in his checking range as well. He goes for a massive bet. The queen is a bit better for him. We're blocking some of his bluffs here with the king. But I think we just have to see the river here. That is a really interesting card. Okay, I wouldn't expect him just to snap check with an ace, but it's certainly possible. Just trying to figure out what sizing I want. Do I want to target like do I think he has a lot of ace X, or do I think he has a lot of weaker hands? I think he's got a lot of weaker hands based on the way he played the hand on previous streets. So I'm going to target those hands with a small bet. Okay, the player's sitting out. I think fives is an open anyway. With a limp under the gun, I think I still like raising fives here. I don't really like limping, having a limp call, maybe a big ISO. This way, maybe we get the button out and we're gonna have position on everyone else. right, so big blind calls. Expect big blind to be calling a lot of suited hands, middling hands. The king is definitely better for us. I think like queen high flop would be a bit better for him. But the 6 and the 9 being hearts, if he's calling with a hand like 7-8 suited, 10 jack suited, he really likes his flop. But I do think we need to have some, I think like betting fives here allows us to, number one, get protection, and number two, sets us up to have bluffs on later streets when that board may make it difficult to have bluffs on later streets. All right, queen 10 suited here. Yeah, we are essentially effectively in the cutoff. So I'm going to be opening this hand, queen 10 off. I mean, going to be opening this hand. So far I haven't seen any players at this table that make me really nervous. That I want to avoid. And then we're definitely just going to be folding too. We don't want to be calling too many 3-bets out of position, especially with offsuit, kind of weaker hands. Okay, this small size, I actually think there's an argument to 3-betting with this hand. Okay, do we want to be opening 4-5 off? I mean, probably not. I think that's probably just a bit too wide. We don't have a ton of reads or information on the big blind at this point, so. Doing the button flats. I guess he could be flatting. I mean, it seems like he's mostly probably flatting some medium strength hands, some pocket pairs, some decent suited aces, maybe some broadways. And then the big blind could also be wide. So this is a board where I would expect the button to be 3-betting his best aces. And then I would expect, I mean, big blind should be probably 3-betting, squeezing with some of their stronger aces as well. So I think actually we're doing quite, I think we're doing better by a lot than either of our villains in this spot in particular. I would sort of don't expect the button to have many ace-x, but I suppose we get called in 2 spots. I think once we get called and their ranges are filtered, this is just a give up. Yeah, I mean, maybe king high is good enough. Okay, pocket eights. So, okay, so this player's likely on the tighter side. He didn't three bet my hijack open with pocket eights. That's something worth noting. Yeah, three bet cutoff. Open with eight on button. Okay, so that's definitely worth noting. Like that player pre-flop, probably fairly tight, and then yeah, don't expect him to like be out of line post flop if he's going to be that tight pre. So it's worth noting. Pretty much anytime I see aggression from that guy, I can kind of just fold. I can play tight against aggression from him. So that's good. So now I have a tight player to my left, which is nice. All right, so this is interesting. I just sort of said this is a tighter player. When he three bets pretty big. So I can be doing that in a fairly tight range. We do have the ace blocker here, which is nice. Like I'm tempted to use his tightness against him here. Sure, he's opening. He's definitely three betting a tight range, but I think we can probably get him to fold for a smaller sizing. Most of his weaker three bets, and if he does continue, like it's pretty clear that he has a strong hand. Actually, you know what? Like flatting eights on the button there gets the cutoff open. Maybe that's not all that tight. Now I'm thinking about it. Flatting tens would be super tight for sure. Eights, eights probably not so tight. Like three betting eights makes sense depending on who's in the blinds. But I suppose like with a hand like eights, you don't really mind if the blinds come along. If you can just flop a set in a multi-way pot, pretty strong set, a really strong set, a multi-way pot against some weaker players. I don't know. So maybe it's not as tight as I might have originally said, but we'll see as time goes on. I think 8-3 suited is probably just a bit too weak to be calling a 3x open from the small blind. Let's check this out. How wide should we be defending there? Everybody folds, small blind opens. What does big blind strategy look like? So we're defending quite wide, but yeah, E3 suit is just too trashy. I mean, look at those are the only hands apparently. Wow, we're three betting with some of our worst holdings. So we are three betting a bit polar. Big blind against small blind open. Makes sense. Because we can flat so many hands, we want to be three betting our strongest hands, and then we want to add some bluffs. I think Jack 6 suited would be a bit too loose from the cutoff. Okay, so what types of hands would the big blind want to be flatting here? I think they want to tighten up a bit, being that it's going to be multi-way. They're out of position against two players. So I think they would want to be squeezing their best hands here and probably folding a bit tighter than you would expect, especially their offsuit hands. Okay, this is a board that's much better for the button. The button has, well, they both have all the sets. I think the button probably has more combos of, well, you know what? I don't know who is. They both probably have 10 jack. The button maybe has more combos of 5-6 suited, maybe. I don't think either of them really have 10-6. Button's got more two pairs. You know what? Actually, you would think, right? Cutoff there's opening high cards, so you'd think that button is flatting with some middling hands. Button's range is sort of condensed. There you go. Button's range is condensed around those cards that showed up on the board there. Higher percentage of his range is straights and sets. Whereas Cutoff certainly has the straights and the sets, but he's also got a bunch of other shit. Yeah, I'm pretty glad we get squeezed here because we get a chance to 4-bet. Sizing with this player behind, I think we want to size up slightly. We're going to be in position against the 3-better, so we don't necessarily have to go huge, but we do want to go a little bit large, try to get the player 6 to get out of there. Be interested to see the strategy here. Players are generally pretty tight. See if more jacks, probably not. I expect him to be folding a hand like ace jack here, king jack, queen jack. I don't think he really has many jacks. So I think we're actually doing quite well on this board. We have aces, we have kings. He doesn't really, he's out of position. I think he could have queens. I expect him to be five betting queens and kings quite a bit. So potentially he has a hand like aces, but I think here with the king of diamonds, and we block aces and kings pretty hard. Like maybe he's got a hand like tens. Interesting, when he raises, I mean, what's he really saying he has? Queens exactly. I just don't really see many jacks in his 11. Like we're getting a great price here. I'm not really sure what's going on. Timer there. 20 into 80, it's like 25%. We have like block his value hands, aces and kings, but we also block his bluffs with the king of diamonds. That's pretty poorly played. Yeah, ace is the only hand that really makes sense there. We are blocking aces. Okay, I think we're gonna play a few extra tables. Okay, I think we can open Jack 4 suited from the button. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Let's see for sure if we can. Yeah, sometimes. A7 off facing. There's a limp and an ISO. We won't be continuing with that hand there. Definitely way too weak. Fours, we're definitely opening and folded to. Can't call it a small blind. This is a relatively safe board. Small blind has 5s and 3s, but I guess so do we. He's probably got him at a higher concentration than we do. He never has jacks. We definitely do. So we get to bet on this board quite often. I think we have some decent backdoor potential, surprisingly. And we just benefit so much if he folds overs here. He does have a jack. He's not folding, obviously. When he calls, I think he's a bit filtered towards a jack. Maybe he has like ace deuce, ace. Well, he probably doesn't have ace 4. Yeah, we're just giving up here. Maybe we get to showdown with the best hand somehow. He snap checks again. Maybe he's got a hand like 5x. Or he just has a weak jack. I think we're beating some of his. He could have a hand like king, queen, 9, 10, something along those lines too. Queen 6, yeah. Okay, opening. Queen 4 suited this time. How's Queen 4 suited doing from the button? Shit, I closed the wrong one. We flop a queen here with the backdoor flush draw. And he leads. So like in my experience, these leads aren't super strong. They could be like some weak kings, maybe some 10 jack. I don't even think 10 jack's leading. I think like weak kings or some weak queens are probably the most likely candidates. With our backdoor flush draw to go along with our queen here. I mean, there's potential he's also doing this with a hand like 10s or jacks, but I expect those to 3-bet pre. Okay, I expect him to slow down a ton on the ace. think our hand is a bit too much out of value to turn into a bluff here. I guess we'd be targeting getting a king to fold, but not something I really want to get in the habit of doing. What was my note on this guy? Okay, said this guy might be tight, but I actually don't know if this guy's tight or not. Yeah, like a weak king makes sense. Like those are the hands I expect him to sort of lead on those flops. We're doing quite well on this board, so I expect him to have a lot of checks, and that's about like the best turn we could have got. Do you want to have stabs here? Probably yes. I expect him to be checking back a ton. But in this pool, like I don't think he's checking back. Like I think most of his pairs are betting. And I think we're just doing quite well on that turn. And we have some equity if we do get called. Unless he's got like, I mean, his under the gun range just contains a bunch of high cards as well as some overpairs here. I just expect him to be betting, especially in this pool. Like, expect him to be betting almost all of his stronger hands on this flop, even though it does favor us a bit. It's always good when you get aces. Oof, and he opens. We have a limper and a huge ISO. So we're definitely going to be three betting here. How large do we need to go? Do we want to go? We don't have to go that big because we actually don't really need that much protection. That being said, like 750 would be 3x. That's a pretty substantial raise, given that this is 5 BB, so this is now 15. Seven, eight suited. You know what? Let's check this thing out too. This is an under the gun open. Okay, we're not really supposed to. Okay, very rarely we should be opening 7-8 suited. Okay, we get this really, really, really awkward size 3-bet. We're happy to go multi-way here and bring these weaker looking players along. This guy overcalled and he's got, I don't know. We're happy to go multi-way here. It's about the best flop we could have hoped for. I think we're just gonna be fast playing it here. These two other players still. Yeah, I think we just have to raise. There's a lot of like 9-10s and spades behind us. We just want to get knocked out. Okay, now we just hope he doesn't have kings. So 8-9 suited. Yeah, so he made a pair and a flush draw. Yeah. Okay, we gotta be very, 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 very cautious on a board like that. He snap checked, didn't even think about it. Makes me think we're very likely to have the best hand, but we are. On our favorite river. Definitely gonna be opening sixes on a button here. Against the limp from a weaker player, we're gonna keep the SPR and try to flop a set. Just check back pretty quick. Makes me think he doesn't really have a whole lot of much. He could have a jack. Okay, this is a board. It's great for our opening range. It's going to be very hard for us to have missed this board. We get to apply a lot of pressure. I guess they both have queen 10, which is interesting. Like when he calls one, I guess he could have a hand like, now I just think he's got like a lot of ace X. Bottom pair, top kicker. This board, we're not doing so well. This board's definitely much better for him. Betting again might get him to fold a hand like Jack 10, Queen Jack. I don't know. We're kind of at the bottom of our range, right? Uh, he checks back. I think he's pretty capped, especially when he checks back board like this. Although I guess he could have hand like 8s, 9s, 10s, hands like that. So we're gonna be pretty cautious. I think this guy's filtered a bit when he calls my flop bet. Take our showdown value. What happened down here? I think ace 10 off is strong enough to be opening, especially against a weaker player, even though we are going to be out of position. And now I think we pretty much just play our hand against this player here. 10 wants to bet a bit larger, so we're just going to bet a bit larger. Okay, he calls. Similarly, we kind of just want to keep betting larger. I think he's relatively inelastic. Okay, sure. Lucky us. What a cooler. Okay, so they have all the sets. This player in particular is really loving this flop, but I think our hand is just a bit too strong to want to be checking. We're definitely just going to be betting small on this board. How are these players? Big fish here in the blind, so we are going to call. I think we're going to delay our c-bet down here. We get called in 2 spots. This board is getting dicey. 7, 9, I mean 9, 10. Check. There's not a whole lot of. We're actually still doing fairly well. I almost hate to give him a free river, but we just, whoa. It's a great river for us. Maybe I should just be betting the turn there. I don't know. Hard to say. He really awfully sized 3-bet by the button here. Just going to say that this is probably a weaker player based on his 3-betting size. So it sucks to play out of position, but I think we get to call quite often here with our hand. Just have to be a bit cautious. Okay, this board, pretty good. Pretty good board for us. We could probably just bet range on this board. This hand in particular would be like one that we would want to check maybe the most. Maybe like kings would be something like that. Yeah, I guess now we're just checking. We have like some decent showdown value actually on this board. And then, like I said, we're just going to be calling here with ace queen off. He bets so large. It's like saying he's got an ace or he's got nothing. We beat nothing. Check called flop, check, check turn. It's like ace, king, king, queen. Maybe we're just like the luckiest player ever. Okay, he bets 8. We're going to be out of position here. I think if we're going to be raising, we don't want the river to go check, check. At this point, like, I think like he might be checking back even like king X on the river, or aces even on the river. Or ace king. So we're going to be raising, just trying to pick the appropriate size. We don't want him folding a king. And we want to be able to get it in on the river. Button limp from what's shaping up to be a very recreational player here. We're actually doing fairly well. I guess like his limping room, she's got 4s and 7s. We're probably not opening or probably not raising 4s in that spot. I could see us opening 7s. We have an ace high. We have some showdown value. We have backdoor flush draw. I think it's close. He just bets pot. They'd like to bet a lot when check 2. How strong is our hand here? Do we have 33% pot entitlement? Is a 10 clean? Probably not. The ace is probably clean. And then we have backdoor straight and flush draws just for that sizing. That sizing is so big. I guess we just have to give up against that sizing, unfortunately. This ace deuce off isn't an auto fold, but it's not our typical opening range from the button. don't know what's up with these fucking 3-bet sizes. But eights, let's flop a set, huh? Thank you. Let's hope he's got ace king. Yeah, we're gonna be check raising, especially against this player. That was his first pre-flop aggression. I mean, are we gonna be check raising? We are gonna be check. Oh shit. So I don't think this player is a king anymore. I mean, it's the best river we could imagine. I don't expect him to be betting. Should probably, I mean, check raising the flop. So dry. Like, well, maybe we just get folds on the flop. Maybe we maximized there. Hard to say. Oh, that's supposed to be a fold. The hell? I get for running and typing. Definitely fold. All right, under the gun open from probably a week or, I mean, hard to say, very small sample. Sizing here. We're gonna be out of position. We have a premium hand. Let's tax him. It's pretty big ISO. This player's already shown interest in a pot. I think King Jack off is just a bit too weak to even try to 3-bet here. We would want to be 3-betting our like a stronger range in this spot. His ISO range is probably a bit, well, fairly snug. Not super snug, but fairly snug. I guess he wants to fish out himself. But I mean, this guy is likely a fish as well. This guy's maybe a maniac. We're opening all of our suited aces. I don't know what's up with these 3-bet sizes today, man. I mean, look at this board. Not good for us. Not good for our hand. Probably good for us. Well, good for us for sure, but not good for our hand. King dead suited is borderline. Weaker player. Don't know. Don't know. Weaker player. We can open. We're opening for a small size anyway, so. Cold called. Maybe shouldn't really be building much of a cold call range from this spot. Get him a small blind as well. Relatively safe board, but I think against 2 players with pretty much no backdoor equity. I mean, we had the backdoor straight draw around the queen, but not a ton of backdoor equity. Have to avoid a club for it to be clean even. I expect this player to be doing this with a lot of queen X and some flush draws. Neither of which we're doing well against. So later. Button open. Get 3-betting this hand. Probably quite a bit. Queen Jack off. Let's pull it up. Button open. Oh shit. We 3-bet. This is a pretty good board for yeah, it's a pretty good board for us. We don't have a ton of equity, but I think we need to see about a lot on this board. Okay, button open, small blind is 3-betting, not ever 3-betting Queen Jack off. So, okay, my bad. I guess we're just dominated too much. I need to remember that. Queen Jack suited and Queen Jack off are just dominated by so many hands that would be calling a 3-bet. Interesting sizing here. He limped, I guess, like 6s, 7s, 8s, 9, 10, Jack 9, things like that. King 6 off. Yeah, definitely not opening that hand regardless. This guy, especially this guy's not folding. This would have been a slam dunk, continue, defend, whatever against the button open, but certainly not against a small blind 3-bet to this size, especially. I mean, it doesn't really matter to what size. Small blind 3-bets are just folding 4s. Queen seven off is probably just a bit too weak. Don't really have any information on the big blind. Five, six, seven, two-tone. Yeah, much better for him than it is for me, and he's leading here. He's probably leading a little bit too merged, but he does have all of like 5, 6, 6, 7, all the sets. I probably don't have, I have all the sets, but I just also just have so much other shit that I just have to be really cautious, even with a hand like Jacks that really wants to raise, right? I really want protection. When he checks, like, I think I just want to bet small, get some value from his draws, get some value from maybe like 7x. He's got like 7, 8, or if he's got 2 spades, he's got those types of hands. 7, that's a great card for him. We'll just take our showdown value here. Three bet out of the small blind. This guy seems to play a lot of hands. Seems like he's fairly aggressive. Sure, it's small sample. I think 8s is a bit too strong to fold, although that is quite a large 3 bet. We're going to be in position. We likely have a skill advantage post flop. I think ace 4 is just a bit too weak to be betting, especially on this 8. He's got a lot of middling hands in his limping range. So let go. Okay, I don't think he's 3-betting 6s or 9s most usually. It's king 9 or king 10. I think it's an open from this position. Yeah, I think we're just folding here. We don't really have much going for us. So we have a backdoor straight draw. That's definitely not a call. I don't know what's up with these fucking 3-bet sizes today, man. These fucking people. Pretty safe board here. It's a card that's good for us, so it makes sense for us to continue to be aggressive on this board. With his stack size, I think we still is reasonable to have some overbets. Although, I mean, Queen Jack gets there. He definitely has Queen Jack. He definitely has Queen Jack quite a bit. So, are these guys? No real reads. We're deep on this player, so we're just gonna call. Okay, so he like basically clicks it back. I mean, what is he like? Queen Jack is like exactly the hand. He's probably got Queen Jack at like full frequency as well. Are you ever gonna fold for the 14 on the river? Side call. Can't beat a 5. How many 5s does he really have? Is he really calling the turn with a gut shot? Probably not. No flush draws available. It makes it pretty hard for him to have a 5. So we're targeting like a 10 probably here. Pretty cheap price. Being out of position sucks. He doesn't have a full stack. Pop a gutter ball. We call, we likely go multi-way with this guy. Be out of position now. This board we're going to be pretty cautious on. The king probably favors us a bit. Maybe we can just be range betting this board. But as played, looks like this guy. Damn, that sucks. This board favors us quite a bit as an early position raiser against, I guess, a small blind. He should be calling fairly tight. I doubt that he is based on his stats so far. Sure, small sample, but like those are bad. How many hands have we played? 200. All right, let's play 500. Another hour and a half. Let's do it. Hmm. It's quite a large 3-bet. Don't have that high of implied odds. I don't think we have to hit a set with a hand like 8s in order to win. This guy seems to be a whale. It's easy when you hit a set. With the pot, what it is, I guess there's not a huge urgency to build the pot. Pretty great river for us. I mean, big blind definitely has more 6s than any of us. I mean, we can't fold, right? But definitely some alarm bells going off here. Could be raising a hand like 7s, I guess, but 7s or 8s. spades. Do I expect him? When he just calls, I definitely don't think he has a 6 anymore. So we're going to be targeting some sort of middling pairs with this bet. Okay, I think all the overfolding would have taken, although this guy, maybe not. I think we have a decent amount of showdown value against a player who's playing so wide. The original razor. Check on flop, check, turn. What's he check calling the flop with that we can beat? Don't pick up much equity. We block. We have enough showdown value here. Get a spade in the club. You don't really want to throw with this hand, play really giant pot with a hand that's easily dominated out of position against another deep stack. So we're going to be proceeding fairly cautiously. This guy just calls everything pre, so we get to see bet quite a bit. What a fucking, what a hero. What a hero. Oh, King 7. And that was a monster bet there on the end. Is that guy blocking anything good? I expect this player to be c-betting quite a bit in position. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he didn't bet like ace X makes a lot of sense. I think Queen 10 would have bet. Doesn't really make sense. Like, I don't see many hands who just complete. I mean, I guess like, what do you bet as ace highs before the river? What hand would he have decided all of a sudden to turn into a bluff there? He didn't bluff the flop or the turn. It's got to be like ace X, right? He's got ace high. He doesn't really. He might be good. Playing the pop multi-way. Let's do it. Okay, against the men open. Okay, the 9 completes queen jack, which we block. Could have hand like 10-9, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think the 9 is a slightly better card for him than it is for us. I mean, it's a 3-bet pot. We don't really have the best kicker. I don't mind just taking a street off here. Like, he could just have king queen even. It's probably a flush. That's a big bet. Kind of just repping what? Queen jack suited. Oh, brutal. He did it the hard way or the easy way or something. Okay, so I could see betting small here or checking. With the heart. Maybe with the heart, we should be checking a bit more. Okay, he definitely has a bit more hearts than we do, especially with the ace out there. Like, what hand are we four betting that has hearts? Like king, queen suited, maybe. Even that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I wish that was a heart. It's an under the gun open. Fours is probably, I mean, he should have a stronger range. So like our implied odds if we flop a set are good and we are super deep. And we're pretty much just dead. Oh. Okay, unless he has like queen 10 of spades, like we're good here. We're gonna be targeting strong ace, two pair, those types of hands. Maybe that's a bit excessive because you could have queen 10 of spades. I guess he's probably not checking that hand. Well, yeah, you know what? Why wouldn't he be? Yeah, that's probably a bit aggressive, that sizing. Maybe I just go around pot. quite a large bet here on the river. This is already an overbet, right? Or no? That one's probably close, but we're gonna open it. Fives. It's definitely gonna be an open, especially if we get a fold from UTG. Jack 10 off's probably an open as well. Okay, gets the cold call range. We're doing quite well on this board. 9-10 off is pretty bad. Multi-way, we're easily dominated. I guess we're just gonna let it go. Under the gun opener. I guess we just fold this hand. We're gonna be out of position against two players. Be tough to realize our equity there. This one's close. I think we can open it. Maybe not. Maybe like ace five suited is probably. I mean, against a player who is in this pool. Oh man, this is going to be easy. I'll call against this guy. Okay, we're pretty much at the bottom of our range. We got really lucky there. How's A6 doing against a button open? Fold, fold, fold. Button open, small blinds range. Okay, so we get to 3-bet A6 suited some of the time against the button open. Good to know. Here we get 3-bet to a minuscule size. We're getting a great price. And we have a very playable hand. Oh my goodness. I think we're just going to be trying to build this pot huge. Man, he bet huge. It's a significant check raise. Okay, the overbet on this card is quite interesting, right? It's a card that's what types of hands is he checking the flop and then overbetting turn with? We block the straight. I don't know why, but I really want to make this call here. Check the flop and then overbet the turn. I don't know. People aren't following through that much at these stakes, I suppose. He just has so many bluffs. Like his range is so wide on the turn. Ay. It's a decent bluff catcher, but 50 more hands on this session. Okay, player three is the player most likely to have a queen. I don't expect him to be betting or checking a queen twice. But our hand just wants to keep the pot small. Have some weaker looking players at this table, so we are going to be opening ace 10 off under the gun. Typically, I'd probably be doing ace jack plus, but no real aggressive three betters, it looks like, except for apparently this fucking guy. We'll let these shorties do battle. Hope this guy just, I don't know what I hope. Excellent. All right, so when he calls here, I think he's got some pocket pairs for sure, some like nines, tens, those types of hands. I'm not sure how much Jack X he actually has in his pre-flop calling range, unless it's like, no, I don't think he really has any. We have aces, we have kings, we block aces and kings. Okay, when he just rips it here, like I think he's just super strong. That sucks. Probably gonna check back the turn. Okay, we definitely have all the ace king because he's got the 8-9. I don't really expect him to have king 9 suited much. Yeah, it doesn't look like this guy really gets out of line just through the first 20 hands. Pretty cheap price, but I think with ace queen off, we don't really want to play this hand out of position against two players. Okay, on this board, I think it's just a little too early to fold ace jack for such a small price. we're definitely, this is a hand that we're gonna have in our 3-betting range sometimes, if not most of the time, I believe, from the small blind. Yeah, pretty much all the time, so. This is a spot where I'd expect him to have some overbets. We're over our 500 hand goal for the day, so we're gonna wrap this up. We're getting some fire right now. Very dry board. Probably just gonna be betting range on this board. Very wet board, gotta be very cautious here. We have that queen of diamonds and a gut shot. Queen wants to bet quite a bit just for protection purposes, but I mean, this board, I think maybe this board's just a little too bad for us to be betting here with queens. That's an interesting card for us. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely still just checking, but it's an interesting card for us for sure. He goes with the large sizing. Yes, he does have more flushes than us. I think he might be betting flush draws. On a turn, and here we beat like everything except for a king, and we have queen of diamonds. Now we have the nuts. All right,